Hi guys, and welcome back to Endometriosis Chats. I forgot what we called the series. Grab a cup of coffee. We're just going to be chatting a little bit about my 5-year post-op, just a little bit of a catch-up, and I'm going to be telling you guys my surgery story. So get your cup of coffee, and then let's get started. Okay, so long sort of story short, so it's 5 years ago. I wasn't vlogging during this time, so I don't have a lot of footage or anything like that. I do have some photos that I'm going to be putting in on this slide, almost like in a slideshow format. So if my memory is a little bit foggy, I do apologize, but I'm going to be telling it the best I can remember. And just a disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I'm telling this from my own personal experience. So if I do get some medical terms or something wrong, please don't come at me. I am not a medical expert by any means. I'm just telling you from my experience and the things that the doctors have told me. So let's get into it. Okay, so I had my surgery about 5 years ago. I was 20 years old. 25 now. I was 20 years old. I was having excruciating pain. If you guys remember my diagnosis story, I was in a lot of pain. I didn't want to go to the doctor because doctors kept telling me just take this pain medication and go back home. There was no real sympathy, there was no real help, so I didn't want to go to a doctor, but Taygen forced me to go see a doctor, and all the doctors were out sick, so there was a locum doctor, and he was extremely nice, and he recommended me to my gynecologist. And then as soon as I saw her, it was like all this weight that was clenched up in my shoulders, I could just release everything. She is honestly the best, and I'm still in contact with her even though I've moved. I send her emails and she helps, and I go for a checkup every now and then with her if I go visit South Africa and stuff like that. She is honestly truly just so amazing, and she listened to me right away when I said the pains and stuff like that. How long I've been dealing with it, the amount of things that I've tried, things that other doctors tried, things like that. She was very, and the fact that I told her that it was in my family and stuff like that, she was pretty confident that I had endometriosis. So I had two options. I could either go directly onto a treatment plan, and if I got better through the treatment plan, we would have a good estimation that I would have. Not quite a full, like, yes, you have it, like, confirmation, but pretty confident confirmation that I had endometriosis, and then I would just carry on that treatment plan, but we wouldn't know 100%. The second option was to go for a laparoscopy surgery. I'll try and put it on the screen to explain what it was, but basically they blow up your stomach with like a whole bunch of gas, and then with a laparoscope they go in, they make usually about 3 little incisions, and they put a little camera, the laparoscope, in, and they check it out, see what there is, and that way they can physically see that there's endometriosis present, and that way it is 100% confirmed that you have endometriosis. They can also then go in and scrape some of the endometriosis or laser it off, or whatever the procedure that your doctor does. They can remove some of those lesions and endometriosis and stuff like that. So that's what I went for. I went for option 2. I was like, I've been in pain since I was 16 years old. I want to know if I have it or not. I want 100% confirmation, and then we can go on the treatment plan. Because if I don't have it, you know, we got some other issues that we need to deal with. But both of us were pretty confident that I had it. I just wanted to be 100% sure. And also with the surgery, because I was in so much pain, we could see what stage I was at, and we could also try and remove as much as possible. So I went in for the surgery. Taygen was not with me. My mom, my sister, and my best friend was with me during this whole procedure and situation and stuff like that. Taygen sent my best friend to go get me flowers and a little necklace, which was really, really special to show that he was with me. So I couldn't eat or drink anything normal surgery procedure, I guess, since they were going to blow up my stomach, the skin around my stomach and everything like that. I couldn't eat anything. And I got checked into the hospital. I had a bit of a like semi-private room, which was nice. And then I went in for my surgery. And the surgery procedure, I'm not actually sure how long it usually is. I'll try and Google it and like put it on the screen. But mine, I remember, was longer than expected. And usually when it's longer, it means they found more. So they are trying to remove more, if that makes sense. So the longer the surgery, the more endometriosis in a sense that they're removing. Now, I think I was stage 2 endometriosis, which is not that bad on the spectrum. I mean, it didn't take over my fallopian tubes or my ovaries that they had to remove, like complete hysterectomy, like remove everything. But it was kind of spread all over, especially on my left side. That is also where I experienced most of my pain, is on my left side. So they tried to scrape and remove as much as possible in that regard. Coming out of the surgery, I was obviously like very groggy. Like some of the other common side effects is like nausea, vomiting, grogginess and stuff like that. Bleeding, obviously pain where the incisions are, mood swings, soreness, like, and discomfort from gas, which we'll get into that in just a second. That was probably the worst that I had to deal with. But they obviously give you pain medication and stuff like that, and I realized very soon after I got home that the pain medication made my nausea and my vomiting extremely, like, it made it worse. So the pain medication actually made me feel more sick. So I ended up going off of my pain medication, which means my incisions were extremely painful and stuff like that. So I also had a bit of a longer recovery. Usually, as they say, 3 to 4 weeks. I think I only felt myself, I think I could only drive after 7 weeks because my doctor was like, it's not healing properly, or it's taking slower to heal. My body just didn't recover very nicely after my checkups and stuff like that. I did recover, obviously, and my doctor made really small, beautiful little incisions that I can barely see to this day. They're there, but they're not as aggressive as some doctors do. So obviously I had a lot of bleeding. They scraped a lot, so all of that, they scrape it and they laser it off, but it has to come out at some point. So I had a lot of that, and then cramping and a bit of a longer recovery. I think, I only drove normal recovery 3 to 4 weeks. I think only after 6 weeks I was driving, feeling a bit okay, and it took me 3 full months to feel like myself, where I could lift things and do things. And I think mainly a part of that is because of the trapped gas. So like I said, they blow up your stomach, so they have like room to work in there, and all of that gas basically got like trapped in my shoulders and in my neck and stuff like that, which means I couldn't release any of it. And that was also extremely painful. It was like a lot of discomfort to the point where I couldn't release any of the gas myself. My chest was in so much pain. I even had to get like my dad to like burp me, which was fun. So at 20 years old, my dad sat there and like burped my back so that like we could release all of the gases and stuff that had built up. And it is a common side effect from the laparoscopy, because they blow you up with gases. The CO2 gases get trapped and stuff like that. So I really dealt with that for a very, very long time. And like I said, my recovery was a bit longer. Onto my treatment. Sorry, there's just little notes, like bullet point notes on the side. Onto my treatment, I went on to a Whelan. Basically the day after my surgery, I started taking Whelan, and it basically just slows down the growth or like stops the growth of the endometriosis, or like at least tries to slow it down as much as possible. There's a lot of like hormones and stuff in the medication. I kind of like the way they explained it to me, which might be wrong, but it's almost like pregnancy hormones. So like the same hormones, because when you're pregnant, endometriosis can't grow. So the Vizan is almost mimicking those hormones so that it won't grow. Not to say that it won't grow or like can't still grow, but at least it tries to slow it down. So I've been on that treatment for 5 years. It has worked extremely well. The pain has decreased significantly. Now, obviously, moving to a different country, the pain has picked up again slightly. It's not quite as bad as where it used to be pre-surgery, but it went from like pre-surgery like all the way down here where I was like living my best life pain-wise, and I was like mild cramping and pain every single day, but it was like livable. Now I have like, it's almost like halfway again, where I'm like have the cramps and the pain every day, but I have certain days where I have huge flare-ups. I mean, I had like flare-ups before the move too, but it was like once a month, maybe like when my period was supposed to be. I would have like a flare-up where I was in like really like bad pain, but nowhere near like pre-surgery pain. It's like climbing up the ladder again, where I'm trying to get in to see doctors and see that, but my doctor from back home says because I've been on the treatment, it shouldn't have grown much. It's obviously just a hormonal change, which is obviously affecting the hormones from the medication as well. So I've been on endometriosis for 5 years, and so far that has been the best treatment. It is also the known best treatment other than like a hysterectomy, which is like removing everything, which I don't want to do yet. And then on the other note is I also, even pre-surgery, I started noticing certain foods made me feel worse. And I talked a bit about it in my diagnosis story, that I thought it was just, I didn't connect all the dots, but I started cutting out things like red meat because I would be in a lot of pain and it would be nauseous. Sorry, even thinking about it made me nauseous for a second there, which is another thing. With the Vizan, whole bunch of side effects, just like whole bunch of side effects, and back pain, nausea is two of the biggest ones, but like there's a lot others. But those are the two that I kind of deal with the most, especially nausea. So I'm on anti-nausea medication that I take before I eat so that I don't, you know. But yeah, on the food note of things, I started cutting out certain foods, even pre-surgery. Like I cut out a lot of red meat, but not all of it. And I sort of thought dairy, so I started cutting out dairy in a sense. So there was, just hold on. So I started cutting out dairy and all of those things. And post-surgery, when I was speaking to my doctor about certain food intolerances and things like that, technically there's a long list. I'm going to try and put them all here, like a long list of things that you're not supposed to have with endometriosis because it can all affect it. But that basically means that I'm going to be eating ice for the rest of my life as food. Not really, but that's what it feels like, because it's like no gluten, no soy, no dairy, no meats. Like basically a full-on plant-based, just plant-based diet is the best that you could do for endometriosis. Which is what I try to follow. I still eat some white meats. Obviously, fish is extremely important for me because for my body specifically, I need the fish oils and stuff like that. Others people just need to take like omega-3 supplements and stuff like that. I need more than that. With the endometriosis pain and stuff like that, it's like a whole list that I went through with my doctor about what I need. And I'll go into it probably in like an endometriosis, what I eat in a day, like a diet, not really a diet, of what I eat and the things that I can't eat and stuff like that. But technically this is the list that you're not supposed to have. I've definitely cut out dairy and I've definitely cut out beef. Those are the two things that affect me the most, and I can instantly, and I mean like instantly, feel pain if I taste it. Like swallowed it, instant pain. Even smelling it makes me feel sick. So I know that those are the top priorities for me to cut out completely. The rest I try as much as I can to limit them or cut them out. So yeah, that is my surgery story. 5 years post-op. My wounds have healed really well. My doctor did a really great job in making really small incisions. My treatment is going well, and like I said, there is some fluctuation because of the move and my hormones changing, and it is 5 years later, which is really, really great. A lot of people 2 years post-op start feeling a lot of symptoms again, and often go for a second surgery, or is just trying a whole bunch of different treatment plans, or I don't know, like usually after 2 years. I'm 5 years post-op, and I'm only now starting to feel effects again drastically, and we'll see where that leads, and we'll see what will happen from here. But that is my surgery story. I've had a very long recovery, much longer than most people actually. We found it very hard to drive and lift things and do things afterwards, but I think a lot of it was due to the trapped gases and not necessarily the incisions or anything like that. So yeah, that is me 5 years post-op, and I hope you guys learned a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know down in the comments, and I'll answer them as best as I can. If you guys have any other suggestions or ideas for our endometriosis series, also leave those down below. And if you made it this far, leave this emoji in the comments below so that I know you watched till the end. See you guys later. Bye!